Gruesome Magazine.
Hello, once again. I'm your host, Doc Rodden, and this is Gruesome Magazine, where we review the very latest in streaming and video on-demand horror movies. Each week, my co-host Jeff Mohr, Crystal Cleveland, Christopher G. Mohr, and myself. We'll take a look at various spooky, scary, and gory genre offerings. Tonight, we are reviewing Bloodflower, streaming on Shudder. What could Bloodflower be about? Well, we'll find out. All right, let me introduce the rest of my crew, starting off with the one and only Jeff Mohr. How you doing, sir?
What's up?
We're all born naked, wet, and hungry, and then things just get worse.
Dear God.
Wow.
There you
I'm
go.
doing good. I'm doing good.
It's so sad and morbid.
I'm going to start a quote of the episode.
No.
So I'm warning you ahead of time.
Warping us ahead of time. All right. Also joining us tonight is Crystal Cleveland, living dead girl. Hey, Crystal.
Hi, I'm doing great.
Sounds like you got some con crud from Dragon Con.
Can you hear it? Because I'm not
just
sure.
Just a little.
Yeah. I'm glad I got that IV. That was like, I'm really glad because I think I'd be feeling worse, but
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. Well, also joining us. Worth it. Also joining us is another Dragon Con attendee, the one and only Christopher G. Mohr.
What's up? What's up?
Oh my God.
What's up, my lady? I'm here to entertain you. Yeah, I almost
so
I have
different.
Concred too, and I kind of hope that this voice doesn't go away. I almost have that almost like that radio voice or like that sexy R&B voice from like the 70s.
The only person whose voice gets better when they get congested. I don't think I've ever heard anyone else sound better. I mean, you sound fine normally, but it does like bring it down a few octaves.
You sound like a goofball most of the time. You should be sick more often.
Nice save. Save, Crystal.
You're already sick in the head.
I love his shirt though, because he was not breakdancing at Dragon Con.
No.
But maybe he should have been.
There might be proof that he was, but
I
maybe there isn't.
I'd probably be in the hospital if that was the case.
You would actually break during the
I would break my head. I'd try to spin on my head.
Just break.
I'd end up looking like these possessed people in this movie.
No, okay. Speaking of which, we are here to review Bloodflower. We're going to start off giving you our first impressions. Those first impressions will be spoiler-free, and then we're going to dive into a discussion on the film, which there are some spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one big spoiler.
Yeah.
That's
and
horrible.
then it is terrible.
Jesus Christ with this movie. Sorry for this, but I like
Then we'll wrap things up with a score 1-5 and our favorite scene. Oh gosh. But we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. If you do, please hit the like, subscribe, and share with a friend buttons. Each click will help us find more horror fans just like you.
Yes.
And let's get to the card, shall we? Let's just jump to the game here. All right, Bloodflower, also known as Harem Malam, available streaming on Shudder beginning September 8, 2023. The synopsis is: a young apprentice healer tries to suppress his supernatural ability so he can fit in with the other kids. But when a malicious spirit breaks out of his apartment, he decides to use his ability while dark family secrets are revealed. Directed by Dain Saeed, written by Dain Saeed, Ben Omar, Nandita Solomon. The cast includes Aiden Broncolare, Rami Ishak, Nadia Nisa, and Nibila Huda. I have a feeling I got about 85% on that.
I feel like you did really well until you came to that last row.
No, the last row.
I was like, yeah, that was pretty spot on.
Like the eye exam.
Well, one of the characters' name is Iqbal. You know, it's going to be
Iqbal.
Dave Dreher.
Yeah, which took me a while to figure out that was his name, but that's a different story. Let's get into our reviews. Let's find out what we think. You know what? We'll go ladies first. Let's do it. Crystal, you're up first.
So this is a Malaysian film, and I honestly think this is one of the first Muslim horror films I've ever seen. honestly, I don't think that I can remember a single other one that I've seen. Honestly. So this is a possession film, and it's a different type of possession film because it's not Christian based, which I found kind of really refreshing. I liked, I'm trying to figure out if I'm giving it a little bit of a pass because of where the movie is coming from, and I'm being a little bit kinder toward it. But I will say in the beginning, when some of the scares started, when they were in a forest, it was kind of laughable. Okay, I'm just going to let you know, it was a little bit laughable, but I stuck with it. And I think they did a great job with the makeup on this. There's a lot of CGI, but I understand budgets. You know, you can only do so much. The story is wild. Okay, it's just why it's wild. Okay,
It's wild
so and know
indeed.
that it just continues to get wilder and wilder and wilder. Don't become attached to any characters. Not that you necessarily will, but just don't. Just don't. It's not a good idea. They don't pull any punches here with murking people. So, you know, it's just different. It was different. The whole sort of they do have a prayer, just much like kind of like the Christians use, but it's a little bit different. And then of course, like I think it's kind of cool that, you know, like his mother was the exorcist, you know, and that he got that from her. And so it's basically about the people who have the power to be these exorcists are, I guess it's just familial bonds. I'm assuming that's, we might have some things lost in translation.
It's in the genes.
Yeah, but it is in the genes. Yes, that is what they're alluding to. And there's some weird family stuff. They have some very, very cool plants. I love how the Venus flytraps, they're like, oh, that's from North America. Yeah, that's from North Carolina. That's where Venus flytraps originate, is North Carolina, which I think is really cool and crazy. Actually, you're not allowed to remove them, so don't go out in North Carolina, and they're protected. But yeah, I think the acting was phenomenal. I think they used some really nice fake blood, nice and dark, nice dark color. Like I said, the makeup at some points I really, really liked. I think they went extra hard with the makeup, and I enjoyed it. I think it's actually a very, very good film for what it is. I think the beginning is a little weaker, only because I wasn't sure what to expect. And these like paper looking figures in the forest kind of made me laugh.
Oh no, did they? Okay.
Yeah, but maybe that's just a me thing. Once I got kind of past that and got more into it, I did enjoy the film. And I think it's a good addition to Shudder's lineup. Like I said, I love that it's a Muslim film. Like, why? I mean, it's wicked. Like that we're actually seeing that. The first time I was like, Allah Akbar. I was like, wait, what? It totally made me stand up. You know, that means God is great. So like, I think it's cool. I enjoyed it. That is all.
Very good. Very good. Christopher G. Mohr, sir. What was your first impression of Bloodflower?
Well, and I agree with Crystal about because I think most of these sort of possession type things are usually from a Christian perspective.
Yeah.
And this one to be sort of Islamic mysticism kind of brings a different thing to it. Although for me, it doesn't really make sense how it plays out.
That's weird.
And I think that the main protagonist is he's just most of the movies like,
yeah, he was.
And his friends left and right, you know, it's like, come on, do something, dude. And then the family's all messed up. But I think I will say it doesn't seem to pick up the pace. It's very slow paced and boring at times. But then you have these WTF moments like, oh crap, they went there. I was not expecting that. So there's some really sort of crazy moments that involve gore and stuff. And it definitely seems to pay homage to Evil Dead, The Exorcist. But then you have the goofy, my goofy part is the the great value version of Vecna from Stranger Things that shows up.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and there's even an upside down place, which maybe that's based on, certain types of things. But it just, to me, I kept looking at how well they do it in Stranger Things. It just looked, but at the same time, I give them props because there's some really cool visuals, how they do that. But the monster would just felt it. I mean, I appreciate having a creature, people in a guy in a suit or whatever, but it was like, I don't know, it kind of took me out of it. But yeah, I think it's got some great moments, but it's for me, it was a little too slow. And then just how it kind of plays out doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's cops in this that are the worst cops.
Well, yeah.
They kind of disappear later on, even though you think like if all these things are happening in this one part of the building, they would stick around.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think I will give it props that it gives us a lot of these things that we've seen in other films, and brings a new perspective, and I appreciate that.
Excellent. Jeff Mohr. Give us a skinny, bud.
I'm completely with you in. It's always interesting to see something based on a new spiritualism or mysticism or mythology or religion, and I had to look some stuff up. So they keep talking about, make sure to say the Al-Fatiha, and I know I'm saying that right, but I had to go look that up, and that's like the opening or first parts of the Quran that has 7 verses of like obligatory or voluntary prayers, both. So that's what they were. I kind of thought of it as maybe the equivalent, not meaning the same thing, and I hope that's not desecrating anything, but like the Our Fathers or the Hail Marys or stuff like that, but that's what they kept talking about. This is what you got to say to ward off the demons. I'm really mixed on this because I feel like the overall impression should be better. I thought there was some really interesting sort of set pieces and scenes and effects, but I was thinking it was too long. It just goes on.
It was long.
It just keeps going on, one thing after another, to the point of by the end I had hard, it's probably partly my fault, but reading the subtitles and having a totally different culture and religion, I was having a hard time following what the hell was going on by the time I think I had an idea by the time I got to the end, but I don't know. I was lost during pretty big parts of the movie. And I didn't like that some of the makeup was CGI.
Was it?
I thought
some
it was.
Parts of it probably.
But I don't know. And some of the motions, we get these motions with demons, that people do.
Were they trying to do stop motion, Jeff? Do you know? Were they trying to make it look like stop motion?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
I got the impression that sometimes the creature was jerky in that fashion.
I felt like
they cut frames out. Yeah.
I don't know, but it I don't know. It didn't work for me. Some of that, it's like in possession movies where people take positions that can't be done humanly, and these obviously could be done. It was people trying to do what looked like. So anyway, and I understand that. But wow, they put a lot on the kids in this movie.
They put a lot on the kids, a lot through the kids too.
Anyway, I think I'll stop there. And I don't want to make it sound all negative. I enjoyed it, and I thought there was some creepy scenes. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm not too far behind you, Jeff, or ahead of you. I don't know which way, but anyway, I enjoyed this. This was fun. It was I was kind of going along with Crystal was saying. It was refreshing to see an alternate take, and a take that seemed to be taking it seriously, although there was, I think, some comedy woven in that may not translate. But at the same time, let's start over. The film is uneven, so there's parts where you're like, either confused or unengaged. But then there are moments that are, like right on, like the atmospheric, depending on how successful you think the ghosties or whatever that appear in those scenes, or it's just out and out gory crazy. It just has these crazy highs, kind of spattered throughout the film. In the end, I really liked it. I liked the family. They had arcs and stuff, and they weren't. It had goals and things, but like everybody's saying, it's kind of like some of the stuff may have flown over our heads, but when it nails it, I think it does a really good job. Yeah. I just wish it was a little bit more consistent, but at the same time, I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this. It's definitely a different take on possession and exorcism. I think they're referring to jinns more than they are demons, although they use the word demon as well, which I found interesting. That there was a difference between the two. There are moments in there that are going to stick with me that are really good. One in particular, Chris and I talked about it before the show, and we'll get to it here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get into some spoilers and get into some of the specifics and the gore. And let's talk. Well, anybody want to jump in with anything crazy? Just want to jump. Is there something on your mind you want to chat about?
Well, I mean, I think you have those things that we've seen before. There's times where they try to attempt jump scares and they don't work, and there's times where it does work. But then you have those moments where it's those WTF moments, like when you see a girl eating a baby and you're like, oh crap, we're not playing here, or there's a part where a guy cuts a pregnant lady.
I think we should leave that.
Should we? Okay.
I think we should leave that one thing.
You don't want to spoil the ending? All
just right. That one thing, because that's the one thing that made me go, well.
Yeah, true.
Well, bravo. That is insane. Sorry. I'm not.
That makes sense.
But I'm totally with you.
A little twisted.
Because that was insane.
But then, but at the same time, the way, and I won't get into too spoiler, but the way it plays out, how the kid is supposed to deal with the demon.
Oh yeah.
The most backwards way you could deal with that, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense,
What I didn't like about him is that he's such a wuss. Like he's really, I get it. He bound his powers because he wanted to be a normal boy, but it's kind of ew.
But yet he could still see those things when other people couldn't.
Yeah, they just found the healing part of it, not the whole visual. They half-assed it, and he took the brunt.
And it's like, isn't that the part that would be the worst part? What you're seeing, not. So that was odd. Yeah.
I mean, there's some twists in here, some of which we're not going to expose. Crystal's talking about, but
only because I think it just makes the movie for me.
Yeah. Well, it certainly goes to a dark place. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The sister, though, I mean, it almost feels like this is a setup for another movie, because the sister ends up, seeing what the brother, becomes akin to the brother more so with his powers and stuff. So I like that element of it. And of course, the father doesn't have, even though he's an exorcist, he doesn't actually have the gift that they keep calling it, and which just feels a little bit like some of the things that we've seen in other films where people can see the dead and stuff, and it feels very familiar. A lot of it is maybe kind of pulls away from some of the jump scares and scares for us who have seen it over and over again, but I would imagine that in Malaysia it probably went over really well, because I think there's also the home part of it, right, the familiarity of it, that probably amped it up much more. Because that building was disgusting they lived in.
Yeah. And
the elevator, you could see where if anything weird was happening with that elevator, you'd be creepy.
And it's a poor, but also I do think they did a great job on the greenhouse area and the corpse flowers. Like, I thought those were kind of cool. I mean, yes, they're the worst cops ever, but there is a funny moment when they're holding the jaw and then the dad comes in there just like, I mean, I was like, what is this movie trying to be? Is it trying to be funny? Does it? It felt kind of sometimes.
It felt like it wanted to be.
A little bit.
Joseph Perry always talked about how in Korean films, common trope is inept cops. And that I wondered if that translates down to Malaysia too.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure they probably deal with that a lot.
It translates to the States as well. So,
true.
It's kind of a trope. It's just a trope.
but I will tell you that a pitcher plant is not going to eat a whole human finger. Okay,
No,
that's not the way pitcher plants work. He was just like, here you go. That's not.
Those were that was some kind of variation. Those were much more
no, that's
bulbous and meaty.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
normal.
the idea of it though does
red.
come across, whether or not it's realistic or not. The idea that it's eating.
Well, they don't eat. They couldn't.
I know, but it's
well, I got to go back to
in the world of this movie, it made sense.
You
brought a scene up, and even the scene before that got me because you see the I think it's a possessed woman has her back to her at the table, and you hear this squish chopping noise and then she comes over and serves this kid the plate, and he's like in a trance or something. And he's seeing like slices of pork and rice, and he just starts shoveling it in. And then he starts pulling his gross stuff out.
Yum.
And then when he looks at the plate, it's a bunch of I can't think of the word I want, but entrails and
entrails, so
innards
good.
And yum.
I thought it was
bloody stuff,
uteruses.
guts and blood, guts, gore, and veins in your teeth.
It might have been what's the afterbirth? It might have been like a bunch of placentas, yeah. Because that might fit the theme, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of baby imagery. Definitely.
I will say the baby imagery. And because there's a lot of children involved, it makes sense as the movie goes along, even though it actually means something a little different. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's I did not see that coming. I'm just gonna let y'all know. I think that's when I was like, this movie is crazy.
Well, I figured something was up, but I didn't go that far. I didn't go as far as the movie did, and I was like, ooh.
And that's the thing. It's like it a lot of the gore and a lot of that kind of stuff goes for it, and then they imply certain assaults, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I think that definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Remember how you taught me how to?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. I will say I like the possession scene in the beginning with the mom and how that it got the head coming through through the hair.
Yeah.
Nice moment for Christopher from a movie he doesn't like. But anyway,
hey, me too. But I didn't hate that.
That was very CGI too.
Well, but it worked. And then the mom steps in and takes the brunt of it, and I like the setup. I like that part. I don't know if they followed up with it really strong because it got kind of lost in its own story for a bit until a couple people get knocked off, and then you don't have to worry about everybody anymore. Now you're focusing on just the families, and because the whole thing about the creepy guy in the hallway and the other kids. Although I like the other kids, it was like, okay, they're gone. Let's talk about
you liked the other kids.
I mean, fair enough.
Past tense.
Yes, fair enough. All right. Well,
that's so wrong. I shouldn't be so. But I mean, let me tell you. Look, I think that's what sold me on this movie. I was like, this is not. This wouldn't. If this was American made,
it wouldn't go down that way. No. There's a lot that
maybe
wouldn't
would
go
have
down
done
the way.
one or something, but that would be it. They wouldn't take this.
And all of
This
it would be
was-
off camera. You wouldn't see.
Rough go.
Yeah.
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 A lot of, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our score 1 to 5 and our favorite scene. Oh, boy. And we can't all choose the one scene that Christopher's going to choose, but maybe
You don't know what I'm choosing. How
I
dare you act like
think
you
I
know
might
I'm going
know.
to choose?
I think I might know. I have a heavy suspicion. All right. Regardless, let's get into it. Crystal, you're up first. What was your score and your favorite scene?
I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Nice. I like that.
I mean, I am taking into consideration where the movie is coming from. I'm sorry, but I have to. It's just
Fine.
only fair. So, oh God, my favorite scene is it's so wrong, where the little pudgy boy gets thrown against the wall, and then he.
Well, how did I know
like-
you were going to do that?
It just made me laugh at the way his body just kind of jiggled, and it was really gory. And I'm sorry, little pudgy boy, but you made my day.
It was time. It was time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Little pudgy
Mhm.
boy. Oh my God. Christopher G. Mohr, what's your score and favorite scene?
I mean, I'll probably give this a 3. I mean, I think
Yay.
I think the
Solid.
main thing is just doing something different, because we've seen our share of possession movies and exorcist movies and or Evil Dead type movies, and I think this does, just having a different perspective works. As for favorite scene, I almost want to pick something different just to throw you off.
No.
No, actually, I had several. There was a few different ones, but
Okay,
I don't know. I'm gonna go a different route. I think there's one part where I thought the girl was gonna take a big crap,
Oh my God. Yes.
Oh.
my God.
and at first I was like, "Whoa!" I
Whoa.
wasn't sure where it
Yeah,
was
that's
going.
what the
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah, and then I was like, yeah. First I was like, man, are they gonna do that? And it's like, and then it went a different direction. And then when the thing came out, I was like, whoa, that was.
Is this a scene from the Depp trial? No.
Yeah, it was that Amber Heard moment.
Ew,
she
that's funny though.
Had something
Yeah.
bloody coming out of her. But yeah, that scene was very.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of these moments, these WTF moments that like kind of make up for the more boring type moments.
More boring time movies. All right, Jeff, sir, your score and favorite scene.
I imagine that I wrote down 3.5 as well.
Yay.
I'm giving it a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for what I think is my ignorance of the religion and components in that. And I will definitely watch this again, because I think having a better idea what's going on, I think I'll get a lot more out of it.
Yeah, I probably would too.
So when you say the pudgy boy, Crystal, to quote a phrase, are you talking about when that thing pulled him in?
I mean, when it threw him
And he's flat
against the
wall.
wall.
Threw him
When
out,
it spit him out, basically.
When it spit him out is, yeah. Okay, so I was thinking about doing that one. So I'll say the when the woman who's always outside, is she like saying prayers and stuff, and there's a candle lit outside the door, that she ends up walking off the balcony.
That
yeah.
was pretty cool.
That simple stuff like that gets me in. Totally insane counter, self-harming things like that are.
Yeah, and I like how the twist kind of informed all that later on.
Well, then after when he goes down to the ground floor and looks, there's a little thing there too.
No, that worked out. That was actually really creepy.
Yeah.
And then, all right, well, I guess it's me. I'm going to give it 3.5 as well. I think this is well worth the watch. I think this would be a huge film if it was a little more. It wasn't so uneven. Maybe about 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
A little more focused. Because it has a lot to offer. It's just so inconsistent. Anyway, my favorite scene though. Well, okay, you guys didn't choose it, so I'll choose it. Yeah, the munching scene was like just that scene will not get out of my head for a while because that was just unexpected, and it was because I was like, okay, they're implying something, I get it, and then the next thing you know, no, they're not implying at all. He's just like grubbing down on that thing.
But honestly, like the scene Christopher mentioned that I don't want to like that would have been my favorite scene, really, honestly, because I was like, what is he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so
we
bad.
can't really reveal that scene, but right.
I just think that's the one thing that is going to, I think that's really shocking. And then finding out the whole familial relationship there is super gross. And like, I mean, I think he deserved much worse.
Yep. Oh yeah, that needed to go far more gross and with him. But it does inform that conversation he has with the old boy girl. Her name is Oh Boy. Oh Boy. It looked like Oh Boy to me. But anyway, she there's this really awkward conversation between her and her estranged father. That really, it just it's made far ickier, and also informs like a whole storyline that happens in behind the scenes. So it's really that's really clever writing, I think.
I agree.
All right, well there you go. That's our review of Bloodflower. It is streaming now on Shudder.
What is it called?
I know. It's such a weird name. I don't know what Harum Malam means, but I wonder if that's a better title. I don't know. It's fine. The movie's worth watching. Go check it out. Leave us some comments down below. Christopher, Jeff, Crystal, thank you for joining me. As always, a lot of fun.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's go ahead and say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.